Welcome to the video. In this video, we will talk about plants. More appropriately, we will talk about land plants. They have a great diversity on our planet, and if they were not here, we would not be able to survive. So, let us start by looking at their phylogeny. And if you take a closer look at the diagram, you would be able to uh, understand how the plants and the organisms traveled forward. So, here in the diagram, all are eukaryotes. All these things have a nucleus and organelles. And if we talk about the lineage of plants, it's a very ancient one. Plants are very important for the role they play in our lives. And if we zoom in to the phylogeny of the green plants itself, and by taking a look at the diagram, we will know that how the plants also moved up. There are mainly four groups that we have to study: bryophytes, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms. The reason we mainly study the four is because they are monophyletic, means they share a common ancestry. They also clearly show the movement of plants from water to land. Now we will study about the land plant characteristics. These are the important characteristics that we will measure them on. They are eukaryotic, has a nucleus and organelles. Autotrophs, they take energy and make sugar for themselves. Cell wall, which is made up of cellulose, which is very durable. They are terrestrial, live on land, exception maybe of water lily. Alternation of generation, part of a reproductive process. But the most important thing which sets them apart is the presence of protected embryo. The next thing that comes to our mind is that how do they make energy? They make energy by a process called photosynthesis. They take energy from sun and convert it into sugars. Now the question arises, why are they doing it? They are doing it because they have to store the energy and build up the structures out of it. They also do cellular respiration and release the energy in form of ATP. In other words, they are simply self-sufficient. Now, if we take a closer look at the picture, we will be able to understand how the sunlight comes in, the plant processes it and make its food and stores it. Four more important steps that the plants took to dominate our planet. That is, to move to the land, and for this we can call that bryophytes, plants like mosses etc. Then they were able to move off the matter, like for it we can take ferns. Then they came up with the seed, gymnosperms. Then they came up with the flower, and we call them angiosperms. Now we will briefly study about bryophytes, which start deep into the ocean. That is where the plants started, and we move to the land. Basically, they have what the first plants had. They were green but could not be very tall in order to move water because they were only able to do that through diffusion. Generally, they would grow where there was a good availability of rainwater. Now we will talk about ferns. In this step, the vascular tissues showed up. True tissues means xylem and phloem, they have it, can move matter, especially water, from roots and upwards. So the size of the plant got bigger and they started their upward movement from the ground. Now we will talk about gymnosperms. The next step which the plants took is when the seed showed up. Seed was able to protect the embryophyte. The seed can dry out and then again it can start as a new plant when the conditions are met, which are necessary for the growth. Conifers etc. come under it. If we break the name gymnosperms, it would mean naked seed. Now we will talk about angiosperms. And angiosperms are the most advanced plants, we can say, of the categories before it. That's because of the evolution of flower. And what is the function of a flower? Flower co-evolved with insects and gave them the ability to reproduce. Flower provides the insect nectar and in return they act as a vector for pollen. This is the step that allowed them to be very successful and dominate the world. That again was the evolution of the plants. And if you take a closer look, there are some bryophytes. As you can look, they are very small. Then came the ferns. Then came the gymnosperms with the seed. And finally came the angiosperms with the flower. Thank you for watching the video.